If I got a story for you, that that should be better now. Yes, sir. There you go. Better. Yeah. Well, that's what happens. There you saw the difference between the audio coming from my webcam sitting up on top of my screen and through my microphone and mixer. And it's a long story as to why it got screwed up. I thought I had it set right, but evidently something changed it. These computers have a mind of their own. Artificial intelligence. Yeah. They're inside. They're in there. They're in there. They're saying, how can we screw Mitch up tonight? That old fart. We need to get rid of him. So is the fluttering sound gone now? Is everything better? God, I hope so. So obviously you didn't hear the music or anything when I started it. Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible. You should hear the music. You should hear the music now. I hope so. Wow. Sorry about that, guys. Screwed up my intro. As well as my screwed up voice. So it might come and go tonight. I don't know what happened to my voice. I mean, yesterday morning, I was in rare form out there on my Monday morning rant. Got up this morning and I said, what the hell? I have no idea. Laryngitis or something. So I'm going to struggle through this. And did you yell at a Karen? I don't know. For a guy that lives alone, I do an awful lot of talking every day, either to a camera or a microphone. But I had said, well, let me start over. Let me start over now that you can hear me. Good evening, everybody. It's me, Mitch. Oh, yeah, all 76 of you so far. And most of you are the private community, and looking at the chat, it's almost all green. Wow, that's loyalty, guys. Thank you. The rest of the world is either tired of me or doesn't quite get it. All right, I'll get to the chat and say hello to you in a minute. I got to tell you. So, I have these Amazon links, and you know that you guys have been doing real well with those things. I mean, you have been buying all this stuff that I'm using, and it's starting to add up a little bit. Even though the commissions are small, you get enough of them, it adds up. And I looked, and I was surprised that I made a little money. It was great. And there's something I've been wanting for these live streams. I just didn't want to spend the money on it. And it's a broadcast mixer. I mean, a real mixer, not this hokey little old portable thing that I've been using, which is not flexible at all. And now that I'm doing more chats with people coming in, you need a mixer. It's very, very complex to set these things up so that they don't send back sound to some place they shouldn't, so it doesn't generate echoes and sound effects and music and MIDI control of the scenes on your broadcast software. I mean, it is very complex. So I ordered this Rodecaster Pro 2. I don't think that means anything to any of you unless you are into this kind of stuff. If you're a YouTuber or a podcaster, you probably know what this stuff is. And it's $700 for this thing, but the channel paid for it. And that's why I've said on Monday or somewhere, I said, it's great because the channel is, because of you guys and the fact that you're doing this, is supporting itself and giving me the money. I don't have to dig into my own pocket and buy this stuff. Let the channel itself pay for it. So I bought this big mixer thing, and it came in. Came in day before yesterday. Now that would have been, yeah, they delivered it on Sunday. That's how Amazon rolls, you know. And they brought my mixer and I unboxed it. And in order to wire that thing up, you gotta pretty much tear apart your whole studio. And what I was going to do, if you look here, is where my coffee cup is, and where this old little portable mixer I have is. I wanted to put that thing right here, so I could work the sliders and be a little more professional and be smooth. I want to be smooth. Not to mention that the more buttons with blinking lights on them there are, the happier I am. You don't think my gadget freakness goes just in the kitchen? Electronics is really where it's at. So I started setting this thing up. It is complicated as hell. It didn't come like most things today, not a piece of paper in the box, not a single sheet of paper, not even a piece of paper that had a QR code on it that said, click here and see the online manual. Well, that's okay because all the stuff is online, but no instructions. So I started watching YouTube videos about this thing, and I watched so many YouTube videos the way YouTube is now that when I go to my recommended views feed on my YouTube channel, I don't see carnivore stuff anymore. All I see are broadcast mixer setup videos and how to do the routing and mix minus and how to, oh God. So I set this, I get it all plugged up, I set it up, I tweak it, I fiddle with it an entire day, almost the entire day yesterday. I said, I'm going to have this thing working for my live stream on Tuesday night. Do you see it? No, of course not. I actually got it working last night. Stayed up late. Maybe that's why I don't have a voice. I stayed up late. I got this thing working. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I had music I could just push a button and play my theme song. I had some sound effects, although I'm going to have to restrain myself because you can overdo that stuff. It's kind of gimmicky and it's fun to have rim shots, and I can make myself sound like a chipmunk. I can do all that neat stuff. I just have to be careful not to do it too often because it gets tiring. But it's there. I can route things all through all different kinds of channels so I don't get crosstalk. I don't get echoes. I can adjust separate volumes of the people that I'm talking to in StreamYard. I can make it sound, it has microphone, equalization, and audio processing. You won't I mean, I can set it up so I sound like a radio broadcaster. You can get rid of all the sibilance sounds. You can really tune your voice so it sounds like a broadcaster's voice. There's so many things you can do with these things. I had it all set up, hours and hours and hours and hours of work. And I went to bed last night. I said, boy, I'm happy. I'm going to have one hell of a live stream tomorrow night. Just have to be careful. Don't overdo the gimmicky stuff. People will get tired of it and tune me out. It's thundering outside in case you hear any of that. And if all of a sudden I'm gone because I had a big power failure, which is possible, I have my cell phone ready. I can jump right back on this stream on my cell phone in a matter of a minute or so. So if I disappear or freeze, don't go away unless you're tired of it already. I'll be back. So I get up this morning and I figure, well, I got a few last minute tweaks that I want to do to this mixer. And I go and I push the power button on it and it won't power up. So I go, what the hell is this? So I push the power button again, nothing happens. I said, well, maybe I got to push it and hold it in. So I push it and hold it in, nothing happens. So I checked to make sure it had power. Power brick was plugged in, gets us power through, it uses a USB-C plug for power. I said, okay. I keep fiddling with the power button. All of a sudden, it finally comes on. I'm afraid to turn it off. I fired it up. I loaded up all the software that you see on the screen here in front of you, all of this stuff. I loaded all this stuff up to make sure that I could still connect and that I had done everything right and that I was going to get audio fed to the right apps where I wanted it, and everything was great. And I was beginning to feel like a real broadcast engineer. And on StreamYard, they get, when you first go into the StreamYard app, you got a meter, and it's an audio thing, and you talk into your mic and it bounces up and down. It didn't move. I said, what the hell? All right, to make a long story short, if it isn't already too late for that, the thing broke. After all that work, after all that setting up, after tearing apart my old setup, this thing evidently had a manufacturing defect in it. I troubleshot it, and that's what I do. I used to be an electronics troubleshooter. I know how to troubleshoot. Isolated the problem real quick to that mixer, tore out all the new wiring, grabbed my old little mixer, plugged it all in. It worked fine. Everything worked. I'm using it now. Got a refund return thing from Amazon, boxed it up, took it to the UPS store, sent it on its way. Next Tuesday, I should have a new one. Now, interestingly enough, now I know this is not carnivore, and I hope I'm not losing too many of you here with this story, but let's just call this the adventures of a carnivore. So this one had 4 microphone inputs. It was a big one. It took up a lot of room on my desk, and they have a smaller version of it, which has 2 microphone inputs. And other than that, it's exactly the same mixer. So, and it's $200 cheaper. It's $500 instead of $700. So I took a look at that, and just to be clever, I said, well, let me take a look at Rode. It's made by Rode, which is an Australian company, RODE. Let me look at their website. So I went to their website, looked in their website store, and it said, buy this mixer, get a free pair of headphones. Not just any headphones, but a particular model of Rode headphones, which are really expensive. They're like $200, $189. I said, wow, buy the $500 mixer, get $200 worth of headphones for free. And it said, I said, okay, buy now. So it gave me a list of dealers where I could buy it in the country. And they include all the big New York electronics dealers. And I had dealt with B&H B&H Photo. So I went ahead and went onto the B&H website. And sure enough, there came the deal, $499, get the headphones for free. And right under the $499 price tag, it said, click here for a $125 coupon. I clicked it, and I went to check out, and there it was. I ended up getting the $500 mixer, the $200 headphones, the sales tax, and 3 different little software add-ons, which are probably worthless, but at any rate, trial subscription to this and that. I ended up getting all that for $400 and some pennies, $400 and 30-something cents. I couldn't believe it. So instead of spending $700, I ended up spending $400, which was great. And I got a $200 pair of headphones on top of it. And the only thing I gave up was 2 microphone channels I'll never use, because I'm not going to do podcasts with 4 people sitting around a table, each one having their own microphone and their own pair of headsets. So that was kind of lucky. I guess, I don't know if it's fate or things like that happen for a reason, but And Amazon is great when you return something. There's never a problem, but it was broken. The stupid thing was broken. And I know it was broken because after I had spent the entire day configuring the entire router, setting hundreds of tiny little settings for this level and that delay and loading music into it and all. I said, I just factory reset it. And those of you who've dealt with electronic gadgets know what a factory reset is. I factory reset the thing, turned it on, and it came up, select your language, back to square one. And I did the basic setup on it all over again, hooked it up, and it started working. And it worked for 5 minutes, and then it stopped working. So I knew that it wasn't, because I didn't change anything. I just left it in the basic way it comes out of the box settings. And when it stopped working after 5 minutes, I knew for sure that it was a bad unit. And what are the odds? How often do you get a piece of electronic gear, a cell phone or anything, a TV or something, that when you get it right out of the box has problems right away? Generally, it doesn't happen anymore. So I don't think I'll have it set up for Thursday night's private community live stream because it's going to be that stuff's going to be delivered Thursday. And the last thing I want to do is have a delivery come at 4 and tear apart my whole studio before 7 o'clock. But I'll have it hopefully Thursday, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. And then next Tuesday night, you'll see this thing. It's like the bridge of the Starship Enterprise. It's got all these different color lights, and it's just, I don't know why I get so excited about that shit, but I do. All right, enough mixer talk. And let me go back in the chat, way back to the beginning. Holy cow, you guys I think you've probably said to yourself, well, if Mitch wants to talk about mixers, that's fine. We'll just talk amongst each other. I'm looking at a page early on of chat, and every name on that is green. So I'm glad to see you guys here. So who we got here? We got first, Jerry Bell came in. He came in real early at 8:40 this morning. You guys said hello, meet people. We had somebody join the private community. It's how do you pronounce that? Drolanik became a YouTube member. Thank you. I don't know if you're here tonight, but welcome if you are. And then you're already talking to each other. Yeah, said Jerry, you take the win position. That's Mark. How you doing, Mark? Good to see you. And Boyd Lamb was here. 7 or 8 Eastern, 8, of course. That 7 was just 1 hour early for my birthday. I got to tell you, I'm glad that birthday's finally over. That was a lot of work. Wore me out. But it was a good birthday. One of the better birthdays I've had in a long, long time. Ellen is here. Scooby the dog. How you doing? Checking in. Guess it's 7 p.m. for me. It would be if you're in Central Time Zone. Boyd Lamb. And we have Michelle Pocody. How you doing, Michelle? Good to see you. Kia ora, fellow carnivores. Juan is here from Chile. Hi, Juan. How are you? And you guys have been talking amongst each other. Let's see if anybody new came in. Cliff Medina's here. How you doing, Cliff? Cliff sends me emails every day with funny memes and things on them. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Naruto Kun is here. Hiya. How you doing, Naruto? One of my Michael Pregler. Hi, Mike. Good to see you. How you doing, brother? He says. I'm doing great. Other than that stupid mixing adventure, Viking 442. Crushing ribeyes in Tampa. How you doing? I just talked to my daughter up there in Trinity, just north of you. If I'd have known you were down there, I would have told her to wave. Linda G is here. Hello, Earthlings. And Mac is here. Hi, Mac. Good to see you. Good to see you, my friend. And same people talking back and forth. Coco. Hi, Coco. How you doing? We had the pleasure of meeting Coco the other night on my birthday stream, and Josephine C. as well. Good to see you. Glazed ham. Oh, I like that. Sup. 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 Richard Williams from Copper Hill, Tennessee. Where else would he be? Cliff said there's noise. Yes, there would be noise if the stream was getting its feed from this camera sitting on top of my computer. You would have heard all the fans running, all the computers running. No wonder it sounded like a helicopter. I can't believe it did that. My beautiful introduction with cool music was ruined. Such is show business. What do we got here? We have Worship Dancer. How you doing from Portland, Texas? Good to see you. And Foodie Fatty Adventures. How you doing? That's a great name, man. Or lady. How you doing? Good to see you. And I think we got Oscar Rodriguez is here. Hi, Oscar. Mike B from Arizona. Mike K, excuse me. Looked like a B at first glance. Good to see you. William McCartney, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you, my friend. Glad you could make it tonight. Josephine, and who's this? Casey Caudle. Hello from Mississippi. Thank you for being me. Who else would I be? I'd like to, I try to be other people, but I can't. Won't work. Does not work out for me. And then we got somebody named YouTube user is laughing. Alien. I don't know what that means, but that's a unique name, YouTube user. Now you guys are starting to tell me the sound is broken. Okay. Matthew Tremblay. Matthew, how you doing? That's a unique way to spell Matthew. I like that. Cliff and Mike K again and Maggie Bay. Didn't see you yet. Says hi to all of us. YouTube user is continuing to send one-word tweets or chats. Everybody's telling me that the sound, somebody says, that's it. I think I fixed the sound. There you go. Crackling noises. David Parker. Sound is good right now. You got it all good. Great. Okay. Here we have CB Carmack. Good to see you, my friend. Glad you could make it. And MK is here. How you doing, MK? Anybody I missed? Duggar. 10 a.m. here. Wow, you must be in Australia. Linda. Sounds like back when we had to choose compression. Yeah. No, that was I just had the mic open. For some reason, the mic on the webcam was somehow StreamYard decided it wanted to use that one and screwed up the routing. I had it all set and tested it, but when I went away in an hour before I got back, it had somehow magically changed itself. This helps my voice. I think I've said hi to everybody. William McCartney, Coco. Yeah, I'm sure there's Brad. I got Brad is here. I haven't seen Brad before. Oh, here's a few new people. David Bland, good evening to you too, sir. Gail McQuaid. Hi, Mitch. Tom here. Okay. It's Tom. First time catching you live. Enjoy all your videos as a fellow guy. You are an inspiration to me. I like to hear that. Thank you so much, Tom. And why have you hijacked Gail's computer? Paul McGrogan. It ain't easy being green. Stephanie Reed. Stephanie Reed. And no way to turn off. I don't get. I assume everything's working fine now. I want to go down to the bottom of the chat in my other window here and see if anybody's telling me that something ain't working right. Question. What's Rosie up to? Oh, I meant to announce that. Rosie sent me an email and said that she and her husband are going to be traveling for a week or so. So she's not going to be here. She may chime in on the Thursday night stream or Tuesday, but we're gonna do without her for a week or so. We'll do fine. We'll do fine. What I'm going to do a little later is something I said I'd do last Tuesday on my birthday. I said that I really had fun meeting some of you guys. So maybe at 9 o'clock, maybe in about a half an hour, I'll throw a link in the chat. And anybody wants to come in and talk to me, come on in. And we'll see if people are interested in that. I had a really nice response last week. I had a ball. It was great. It was great. So we'll see how that works out. And we'll see how long my voice holds out. And the weather. And everything else. And as you guys probably noticed, I didn't post a video today, just this live stream. After that great mixer debacle and how much of my time it took up, I didn't get a video made yesterday, and I spent most of today trying to get that thing working. But I said to myself, I made a big deal out of this 2 weeks ago about not being pressured to post a video every day, so people will understand. Hopefully they won't think that I've disappeared. And I haven't seen any ambulances show up or receive any panic phone calls. So evidently you guys are all right with that. And Ellen says this is video enough. Yeah, I think so. I make videos because I like it. It's fun for me. It really is fun. I have fun playing around. It gives me something to do. It's like a hobby for me. But there are times when I just either don't have time, I'm not in the mood, I haven't had a great thought. And I like the idea that if I don't want to do one for a day or two, that I have the option, because I'm not working for some boss who's standing over me, making sure I'm productive all the time. But even when I say I don't want to make videos, I make them anyway. I make them because I enjoy it. I just enjoy the hell out of it. And I hope that shows through in the videos that I make. And even the ones I enjoy the most are the ones where I can be as absurd and outrageous as I can be. Because not only do you guys get entertained by it, judging from your comments, but I'm laughing like hell on the inside when everybody is thinking I'm mad and upset. Inside, I'm having a hard time containing it because I'm clowning around. I love it. I love to do that. Isn't my daughter my boss? Says Mark. I work. I do work for my daughter. I do some work for my daughter, but I don't work for my daughter. She thinks I do, but no, I not really. We have a great relationship, and that work comes in spurts. It generally comes hot and heavy, and then stops for a couple of days. We have a couple of big clients that I take care of their websites. She does their public relations, and she and I collaborate on the graphics and the flyers and the mailers and all that other stuff, designing that stuff. I don't know if you guys can hear the rain, but it's pouring here right now. And we need it too. I was beginning to worry about Florida getting too dry this time of year. Reminds me of what happened in 1998 when half the state was burning. from wildfires. So the rain, any rain we get in May and June is very, very welcome. So I hope it keeps raining for a while. But at any rate, no, I do that. I do that with my daughter. And the best part of that is that I get to talk to my daughter all the time. Even if it's just talking about work, we talk about work, and then we talk as father to daughter. It's a great relationship. But I'm not really on the clock. Let's say that's the beautiful thing about that kind of work. I work at my own schedule. When I get the work done, it gets done. My problem is I've spoiled the hell out of our customers. I generally jump on things, and I usually have things finished before other companies and other people would have even had time to open the email suggesting that this needs to be done. So our customers, especially the biggest ones, consider us almost irreplaceable because of the service that they get. And that's the secret to being successful. I've done that all my life. And if it wasn't for these terrible, bad timing situations I found myself in, I would never have had the disasters I had. But when things were rolling, they always rolled great because anybody knew if they had any problem that I always responded. Even you guys know that when you contact me, that I don't just let things go. I take care of them. I'm the guy, like a fireman. I'm the guy running towards the problem when everybody else is running away from it. It's a great way to be in this world. If you want people to trust you and if you want people to do business with you. But where was I? Any questions? Any questions at all? I'm trying to keep up with the chat here. Oh, here you go. Question, Mitch. Did you figure out that piece for the for the meat grinder? That's another thing. I get this meat grinder, and honest to God, the Amazon guy brought it. It wasn't even in an Amazon box. He handed it to me in the box, like you'd see on the store shelf, just exactly like I carried it in from the other room. And the only thing I did, I knew where the Amazon guy was because you get the app notifications. Your Amazon package is 3 stops away, and then they show you a map. It's the coolest thing. And you watch the little truck, and the little truck goes, it's coming up on your street. And you say, okay, bug, turn. Here it comes. And it goes by your street and goes to the next street and turns the other way. And you go, oh, and you watch the little truck. And then it starts coming back towards your street. And then it turns back towards your street. You start rooting for it. Yeah, come on now. Left, turn left now. And the little truck turns up your street. And it's delayed a little bit. So at a time you finally see the little truck getting down to the end of your street, the guy's sitting out in front of your house. So that guy can't keep a secret, man. I wonder if his wife is tracking him as closely as everybody else to make sure he doesn't stop places he shouldn't stop while he's out delivering Amazon packages. And Mark can tell us all about that. Eat, Meat, Heal for Life, because Mark is an Amazon guy. And on our Thursday live stream last week, he came on live from his cell phone in his Amazon truck. And it was cool as hell. It was cool. Those of you, and there aren't many of you that aren't in the live stream, you're missing a lot of fun in the private group. It's a great group of people. Great group of people. At any rate, here I go off on tangents. Did I find what the plastic piece was for? Yes, I did. Because as soon as I got done making that video, and I'm pretty good, I'm a typical man. Don't look at maps. Don't read directions. I can figure this out. That plastic piece, it works with those funnel-like things that you use when you make sausage. It's a spacer. It goes in there behind the screw thing when you put the sausage thing on there. And I've mixed feelings about making sausage because, you know, if you all know what natural casings are, they're basically intestines, and you take these intestines, these natural casings, and you fill them up full of this stuff. And the thing that makes sausage, in my estimation, are the spices, the fennel, and those kind of things. I mean, just to stuff hamburger in an intestine and cook it doesn't sound like there'd be anything special about it. I just soon throw the hamburger in the pan. But my son makes sausage out of stuff they kill when they hunt, especially deer and wild boar. Those animals don't have much fat on them at all. So he gets fat from his friend the butcher, who gives him a lot of the beef fat that they cut off of beef when they trim it up for sale to those people who think fat is going to kill them and they want only lean beef. And, you know, if you're in the meat retail business, you end up with a lot of extra fat. So they take that fat and throw it about half and half in with the wild boar meat or the venison, and they make sausage, but they spice the hell out of it. They put all these spices in that I don't think that are the greatest things for carnivore, but I don't think it's not gonna be like eating sugar. But that black plastic piece was basically to be used only with those sausage attachments. So I ended up, whether I had it exactly right or not, I ended up doing it right, and it worked. It worked great. It almost fed itself. You really didn't have to push down hard. In fact, if you remembered, I was really surprised. The minute the first piece of meat dropped down the tube, it got caught up in that auger wheel, and it went right through the grinder. So it does all the work for you. Cuisinart makes some decent stuff, and it was $99. I got it because you can buy hamburger for the same price as you can buy the meat and grind it yourself. Let's face it. You can buy hamburger for $4 to $5 a pound, and if you buy chuck, it's going to be $4 to $5 a pound. But you can know what you're grinding when you grind it yourself. You can see what you're grinding. You can mix things together, and that's what I want to do. I want to mix, and I don't know how I'm going to do it. I never tried it yet, but I want to try to grind up some bacon or pork belly and mix it with hamburger, or also grind up some pork and mix it with hamburger. They make meatloaf mix. 30% veal, 30% pork, and 30% beef. And they sell it in a lot of these stores. You buy the package, you see the 3 different kinds of meat, one next to another. And I want to start doing stuff like that. Not that I need to do it. Listen, I'd almost be perfectly happy just eating bacon and eggs for lunch every day and alternating between a couple of hamburgers and a steak for dinner every night, and throw fish in once a week. Today, because of all that work I was doing with that mixer, my whole schedule got thrown off, and it got to be 2:00 in the afternoon, and I hadn't even thought about food yet. And that's when this diet is amazing, because here you're 2-3 hours past the time you normally eat, and you're not hungry. You don't think about the food. And I said, so I ended up making this a 1 meal a day, and about 3:00, I took one of those big pieces of salmon that I had vacuum sealed with the pats of butter in it. You remember a few weeks ago, I made a video about doing that butter poached salmon and eggs. So I said, well, if I'm going to just eat 1 meal today, I'm going to stuff myself. I'm going to eat 6 eggs and almost a pound of salmon. And I said, and that will fill me up. So I threw that pouch with the salmon and the butter into the sous vide, 145 degrees for 45 minutes. When it got to where it had 10 minutes left, I made 6 eggs in butter in that Mueller, big 12-inch Mueller pan. I took a really deep dish because I knew that there's going to be a lot of butter coming out of that pouch when I opened it. And I cooked my omelet on both sides in the butter, and I put it down in this pan, and I opened that pouch out of the sous vide, and I took this huge hunk of fish out, put it on top, and poured all the extra butter over it. There must have been 2,000 or more calories there, 25. And I sat down and I ate that entire thing. And that was, what time is it now? It's 8:45. I still couldn't even think about eating anything else. That really filled me up. And it was a tremendously healthy meal. A lot of eggs, fish, a lot of good fats from the egg and the fish, a lot of butter in there. It was a great meal. And I don't normally eat OMAD, but I did it. And I even thought about fasting. I even said, well, maybe I should fast today, but I'm not one for fasting. I fast for 18, 19 hours every day. That's enough. That's enough. Okay. Any more questions? I see we have Andy Carnivores testing. How you doing? I don't know. For those of you who aren't members of the private community, which is not very many of you, everybody's sporting their badges, and the gold badges are the ones that have been members the longest. I'm a carnivore. That's Andrew. Andrew is our Amazon driver. And the lighter turquoise ones come next. And then the newest ones are the darker blue. And I don't know what color is next. Maybe it's orange or something like that. But in another 30 days or so, hopefully we'll be coming up with some of these people will start to get their orange badge. And it's not an imperative. I can understand why people don't want to join, but we really have a good time. I think we have like 92 members, and it's a great group of people. Fernando, I'm wearing my non-reading glasses here. Pasos, how you doing? Great recipe. Julia Child, yeah. I remember Julia Child. She would say, "You fillet your thing." She had that opera singer almost kind of voice. She was something. And how many of you remember this? What's his last name? Graham something or other. He was a British guy, and he was a cook. He had a show long time ago. Graham. I think it was Graham. She was he was great too. And then Justin, that Cajun guy, old Cajun guy, had a cooking show from Louisiana. What was it? Justin Wilson, was it? Yes, it was Graham. Galloping Gourmet. Graham Kerr. Yes. Sky, you've got a hell of a memory on you. Graham Kerr and BB1 and Mac remembered Graham Kerr. Yeah, the Galloping Gourmet. Wow. Those are, God, it just goes back. It goes back. And those people were cooking, most often they were cooking real food. It was real food. Question, Mitch. Boyd has a, did you see the rabbi's video about the new carnivore website? No, I watched some of the beginning of that video. I never got to the part about the website. I didn't see the website. I'm sure I will in the next day or two. Remember, I was upside down trying to get a mixer to work in my studio today. I didn't have time to do much of anything. And I got an email from Evan, the rabbi, pointing something out to me today. And I said to him, because he's a member of this private community, but I haven't seen him participate too much. I guess he's, with all the videos he makes, God, this guy is being prolific. 1 or 2, 3 videos every day. Good for him, man. off to a good start. And I said, well, come on in tonight. Come on in tonight. I haven't seen him yet. Sammy, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you so much, Sammy. I appreciate that. Yeah, Mark, all of those old chefs, well, especially Julia Childs, anybody that was a French inspired cook. I mean, that's how the French do it. Everything is butter. French have the highest fat diet in the world, and that's one of the absurd things. We've talked about that many times, what they call the French paradox. And that is, when Ansel Keys did the 7-country study, he didn't put France in there because of the 20-something countries that they actually had data from. There were only 7 of them that fit their curve that actually showed that saturated fat and cholesterol were causative in heart disease. But there was a bunch of other countries that were outliers that told a completely and opposite different story. And Ansel just kind of managed to ignore those. And that's a great way to prove a point. Anything that doesn't prove what you're trying to prove, you just ignore. And that's what he did. And we're paying the price for it today. We all are. But the thing about the French paradox was that they had among the lowest rates of heart disease. And they had among the highest fat diets on the planet. Everything the French ate had fat. Even the sugar, even the stuff with the carbs was laden with fat. The fat triggers the satiety. So they probably didn't overeat too much because they were eating a lot of meat. They were eating a lot of fat. And they probably weren't eating the volumes of food that the people who are low fat, high carb diets eat because they never get satisfied. And they called that the French paradox. And they, for years and years and years, just laughed it off. And there were other countries that were right there with France, eating a tremendous amount of meat, tremendous amount of fat, and yet their heart disease rates were very low. But they never got noticed because they didn't fit the pattern that these guys were trying to prove. And I remember, and I talked about this in a video a while ago, and I imagine some of you may have seen it or remember it. One thing I've learned since I've been here on YouTube is don't count on anybody remembering anything you said a few days ago. And I usually can count on that, especially in some of my earlier videos with so many new subscribers and people that have discovered this channel have never seen those and they don't go back and watch. I just made video number 270. I made 200 and that doesn't count the live streams. 270 videos since last August. Nobody's going to sit and watch 270 videos of me one after another. You got to be a certain kind of masochist to do that. What happened with the French? Everybody started asking finally, well, how do you explain the French? They eat all this butter. They eat all this. They make cream sauces and put sauces on everything. Everything has got fat. Even the pastry they make is loaded with fat and butter. How do you explain it? So rocket scientists that they were, this is how their logic went. Their logic went, well, since we know for sure that eating fat causes heart disease, stroke, and other problems, since that's a given, since that's settled science, since that's a constant that we know that fat kills, we know that, what else might the French might be doing that might be countering the effects of them eating all this deadly fat. Now, is that science? Is that science to start with an assumption, claim that it's true beyond questioning? No, because there have been there's nothing that proved that fat kills you, because fat doesn't kill you. We're proof of that. Fat is good for you to eat animal fat. It's what makes you healthy. It's why we exist today, because our ancestors did it, or else we wouldn't be here. But they started with this assumption that, well, we know without a doubt, as a matter of scientifically proven fact, that fat is deadly. What else might the French be doing? And some rocket scientist says, well, maybe it's the red wine that they drink. We know that in red wine, there's things called polyphenols that come only from plants. And we think that the reason why the French aren't seeing the heart disease is the polyphenols and tannins from the red wine. Not white wine, but they said from the red wine. And that's fit right in with their narrative. They needed some kind of an explanation for the people who said, well, what about the French? And this one, they could make it sound like it made sense. And what happened? What happened? Any of you ever been into a Total Wine and Spirits? One of these liquor and wine supermarkets that they have now? Have you ever seen any social gathering? Have you ever seen any TV show where a big group of women meet, where the constant in those things and the constant at parties and gatherings is every woman constantly has a glass of wine in her hand, drinking wine constantly, always got the wine. First thing, you go to your friends' houses. They invite you for dinner. What do you bring with you? You bring wine. Wine has become so integral in our lifestyle and our entertainment and our partying in our everyday life. It has become the normal, and it all started years ago when they made us believe that it was so good for us. And what is wine when you think about it? What is wine? It is sugar and alcohol. Two poisons wrapped up into one drink. And we made a special event out of wine. We have wineries, vintners, wine stewards, wine cellars, thousands of different kinds of wines, old wines. Wine tastings, wine magazines. It has become the height of sophistication to poison yourself with this crap that's alcohol and sugar. We can thank Ansel Keys either directly or indirectly for that. But that's what happened. That's how we got here. And the wine industry and the liquor industry has become a major factor in our economy, just like the junk food has become a major factor. And eliminating it might be good for our health, but it would cause most of us to starve to death for lack of food. There's not enough supply chain for the amount of meat that it would take to feed everybody if they decided to stop eating junk food and poison. It has to, this message of ours and this has to get adopted a little bit at a time, and the economy has to adapt and adjust a little bit at a time. And the sources of more and more ranchers and providing sustainably, farmed meat has to increase over time. It can't all happen at once. It's a juggernaut that can't be turned around that fast. And I'm just afraid that if all of a sudden everybody discovered that you better stop eating this crap and start eating meat, that'll be the end of it for all of us, because the run on meat in the stores would be impossible. And we'd find ourselves in the COVID toilet paper situation where the shelves are bare and people are just killing each other to get what little meat there is. So we got to be, you got to accept a little bit of reality, I think, in the mix. Let me take a look at the chat here. Let's see. No alcohol at my parties. Water. Yes, Anne, that's true. That's true. I love the way you guys talk to each other. And then they mix them with vodka. Wine equals medicine, says Coco. Yeah. Yeah. And my kids, my son, my daughter and her husband don't drink at all. Not because of any reason. They just never did. And I never did. And my parents hardly ever did. But my son and his wife got into the wine stuff. They really love that. They're members of these wine clubs. Wine, they send them a case every month or something of some new vintage and I think that's one of the major things keeping them from really being able to get rid of but they try to cut back, and they do the best they can, and that's all people can do these days is do the best they can. Boyd says he started a 72-hour challenge with a group of about 50 other members of Dr. Burry's tribe yesterday. Just broke an extended fast last Friday or Saturday, but what the hell? Good for you, Boyd. Good for you. Max says seed oils kill. Rosie, let us know when you find that 2-pound ribeye. Yeah, Rosie ate a 2-pound ribeye. She's such a little thing, too. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Sky, and don't get me started on the GMO situation. Yeah. GMO foods are banned in many places. Well, it's all chemistry. It's all chemistry. Everything breaks down into just different molecules and different things. And we need certain molecules to be in certain places in our body to take part in the chemical reactions of life in everything that we do, not only to make energy to keep it going, but to rebuild things and build new things. And if the building materials aren't there, then that reaction or that new cell wall or whatever it was that needed that building material never gets built. And something dies and we have disease. When you genetically modify something, maybe there's a change, an actual change in the molecule, because generally what the genes code for are proteins. That's what a gene does. It codes for a protein. And a protein becomes a little machine that joins up with other proteins and things, all made of amino acids, and does the work of life. It's the reason why we move, and things move around in our body, and our heart pumps, and everything is in constant motion and chemical reactions are happening all the time because of these little molecular machines. And if some of the stuff is a little different because somebody fooled with the instructions, which is why we have such a problem with all this mRNA crap in these vaccines, because it's the mRNA, which M means messenger. It's the messenger RNA that is transcribed from the gene itself, from the actual code of what amino acids are necessary to make up a given protein. That's encoded in the genes. It's transcribed. It's copied into a single-stranded RNA, and that RNA leaves the nucleus of a cell, goes up into the general cytoplasm of the cell, and huge molecular machines made up of many, many, many proteins called ribosomes latch on to that RNA strand like a computer tape, and read it one instruction at a time. And every instruction that it gets to says, okay, now we need a molecule of this amino acid. And floating around in the cytoplasm of the cell are all these amino acids. And this ribosome machine grabs one of them and puts it onto what's called a peptide chain. Okay, there's that one. What's next? And the messenger RNA moves down to the next codon, which is 3 instructions. And it says, okay, now on top of that, we need this amino acid. And it gets another one of those and puts it on the end of the peptide chain. And so the messenger RNA is chugging along, being read through the bottom of this ribosome, which is a big molecular machine. And out of the top of this thing is coming a peptide chain, which is a chain of different amino acids, all linked in the exact order of the codons in the messenger RNA. Okay, and then when you're all done, you might have 10,000 or 20,000 amino acid molecules in this one long peptide chain. It then folds up all around itself into a certain thing and becomes a protein. And that protein can join with other proteins, or it can just do what it does. But any change to those genetic instructions of coding the different order and quantity of the amino acids that build it can screw up life itself. We should not be fooling with that stuff. Selective breeding is different. Selective breeding is what we do with dogs, for example. And we do it with crops too. You take the healthiest, or you take an animal that has the traits you want in the offspring, and you find the best animal that has those traits to mate it with, and you mate them together. And, that's why we have so many different kinds of dogs today. All that change has happened within 20,000 years. I don't know if you knew this or not, but there were no dogs 20,000 years ago. There were only gray wolves. And all dogs today, I don't care if they're little tiny chihuahuas or they're bull mastiffs, they are all descendants of a gray wolf that lived around 20,000 years ago that was domesticated by man. So we have dogs today because man interfered with nature and natural selection. And the opposite of natural selection is selective breeding. We do it all the time. We don't just do it with dogs, we do it with humans too. Arranged marriages. But now, and that's okay because that still kind of goes along with nature. It's still a natural. You may be choosing what breeds, but you're not screwing with the actual chemistry of the breeding itself until now. Now we've learned how to modify the genome. We have CRISPR technology. We know how to rearrange the actual code in the DNA, and we have designer babies. You want a baby with blue eyes? Okay, let's just tweak this little bit of code here. We know which codes for eye color. So, and it's taking a lot of the mystery out of life and it's making it more into like computer machinery, but that's really what it is, organic computer machinery. And the more you understand about computers, the easier it is to understand how life itself actually actually works. Takes a lot of the miracle out of it. The only miracle that I see is that it all happened exactly like it happened and yielded this result, because the odds against what happened actually happening is a number so big that none of us could comprehend it. But it happened nonetheless, or we wouldn't be here pondering it. Oh, no, you get me going and I philosophize. Mitch will be one of the most honest doctors, says Rousing one. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know. Speaking of doctors, I got an update. I got an update on my bee sting or whatever sting it was on my, dare I say the word ass, on my PG rated Tuesday live stream. I guess it's okay. So I told you all the story on my Monday video, and my live stream last Thursday night, if you haven't heard it, about me getting stung on my ass and it not going away and it hurting and bothering me. And I went to my dermatologist. Finally, I went and I said, you got to figure this out. And he took a look at it and he said to me, I said, well, it feels like the stinger, whatever got me, the stinger is still in there. And he said, well, let me just do a punch biopsy on it and we'll see if we can figure out what it was. And he did, and put 4 stitches in my ass and put a Band-Aid on it. And I have to go in Thursday. I know that I have to go in Thursday because I've already gotten 2 phone calls and a text message reminding me that I have an appointment with my dermatologist, and that if I'm 15 minutes late, the doctor has the option of seeing me or not. And 5 minutes of other instructions that I needed to know while I sat there waiting for that pre-recorded message to play so that I could press 1 and confirm my appointment, like I did both on Sunday and yesterday on the phone and on a text message from my dermatologist today. Now, I love my dermatologist. At one point, I had fired him, but I came to blame that on his office staff. But outside the VA, he's the only doctor that I have. But he has a habit of just doing biopsies. Evidently, they pay him a lot of money to do a biopsy. So, he and a lot of these doctors are like that. They'll be in there, they'll look at you and they'll go, man, I don't like the looks of that. How many of you guys how many of you have you ever heard a doctor say that to you? Oh, I don't know. I don't like the looks of that. I think I better do a biopsy and check it out, especially dermatologists, because you're always worried about skin cancer. And I know, because I had a malignant melanoma on my nose. I do not want to go there anymore, ever again, with skin cancer. Now that I'm on a carnivore diet, I think I'm getting, although I don't want to get too cocky about it, but I think my odds of getting cancer are going down. I think my skin is actually, even though I'm still showing the wrinkles of old age and losing weight like I did, I think my skin actually, if I know, I looked at a few of my old videos from about 6-8 months ago, and I think I looked a hell of a lot older in those videos than I do now. And that may just be wishful thinking, confirmation bias. But anyway, I went to the doctor. He took a biopsy. I said, why are you taking a biopsy? I got stung. It's on my ass. It's not something that gets exposed to the sun and is likely to have skin cancer. Oh, no, I'm just doing this to see what it is. And I said, yeah, ka-ching, how much, $350, whatever they pay you to do a biopsy. Because if you just go in there for the $30 copay, they don't make a whole lot of money on an office visit. But if they do something like a biopsy or some procedure, they can really charge. So he takes the biopsy, stitches me up, I go home. So today the phone rings again, and it's the dermatologist's office. And my first thought was, if this is another one of those robocalls telling me I have an appointment on Thursday, I'm going to go burn their place down. Not really. If you're listening. But it was the nurse. Mitch, yeah. I have the results of your biopsy. Okay. It was benign. And And what? Well, it was a sting. We never thought it was cancer or a tumor. We're wondering what kind of insect poison, if any, that they found in this biopsy. Did they find a stinger? What the hell was it? That's why we took the biopsy. She didn't know a thing about that, and neither evidently did the lab. So he took that biopsy, unfortunately, I think, and it's a shame, as a way to capitalize on my bee sting. So I guess I'll never find out. But I mean, of all the biopsies he's ever taken from me, none of them, except the one on my nose, which I knew was bad news. None of them ever came back with anything other than nothing. And I really didn't expect this one to come back with anything. But they treated it like a biopsy looking for cancer, some kind of cancer. And that's not what it was. It was a sting. There were two of them, one right next to the other, a big one and a little one. And when you get stung, you know it. And skin cancer does not do that to you. So at any rate, I'm going to live. I got the word today from the doctor that the bee sting on my S is not going to kill me. And hopefully, after the stitches are out, whatever it was in there that was irritating came out with the punch biopsy. Mitch's story is proof positive of some of the scams for money. Yes, I mean, but this is how these doctors have to operate today. They have to see, God, how many patients a day? Can they spend more than 5-10 minutes with you? No, they can't. The insurance companies keep trying to cut the amount they'll pay them down. The doctors, unless they're concierge medicine or doctors to the celebrities, they need to play ball with the insurance companies or they wouldn't have any business. I mean, can you imagine being a doctor saying, I don't accept any insurance? You better have earned your bones by that time and have a hell of a following before you declare, if you can't afford me out of your pocket, stay away. Doctors can't do that. They have to negotiate with these insurance companies. So do the hospitals, the labs, and everybody else. And the result of the business of medicine has made it to the point where doctors can't really even practice medicine anymore. They have an instruction book for everything called the standard of care. That's why it's so much better if we can manage to stay healthy enough to stay away from doctors. Like I said, ending my rant on Monday, that no matter how good you think you are, healthy, or how right you think you're doing something, it just seems like something always comes and bites you on the ass, literally and figuratively. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, let's have some fun here. If anybody's interested in coming in and talking one-on-one with me, we'll give it a shot. I don't know. I'm still looking for some questions if I missed any. Mitch, are you doing keto? No, I'm not doing keto. I am pure carnivore. I haven't had an intentional gram of carbs in a year and 9 months. Not 1 gram, other than what traces of whatever comes in meat and eggs. Because everything you eat's going to have a few fraction of a gram of carbs in it. But I might get a couple of grams of carbs when I go with my son and we eat brisket at the barbecue place because of the rub they put on it. I don't worry about that stuff. I don't think carbs can't, a very small amount of carbs can't hurt me. Can't hurt my health, I don't think. If I were to eat some vegetables, there's plenty of healthy people in this world that eat like a Mediterranean diet, but they don't get addicted as hard as we're addicted to this trash and sugar and seed oils and grains and all that stuff. So my measure whether you need to be on a zero carb diet or not, or whether you can do just as well with a keto with a 20 gram or even some people as high as 50 grams a day, is the level of your carb addiction. That's my test. If somebody said, well, Mitch, eggs have carbohydrate. Yeah, but eggs don't send me running to the store to buy ice cream. They completely 100% satisfy my appetite. There's no sweet taste that triggers my addictions. So I'm not afraid of a gram of carb here or there. I'm not a purist like that. But I am very wary and I keep a keen eye out for any signs of being triggered. And those signs are obvious if you think about it. Did you get a craving? Are you all of a sudden thinking about eating ice cream or cookies or something? I mean, do you find yourself gravitating constantly to those videos that teach you how to make peanut butter, chocolate, keto cookies? Do you miss that stuff? Are you always thinking about it? Do you feel deprived? Does that get worse right after you ate something that had a few carbs in it? If that's the case, or ate or drank something sweet like a artificially sweetened food or drink, is that when you start thinking about this stuff? You're being triggered. And if that stuff triggers you, cut it out. If you don't care, if you could care less, you're not a carb addict. Not everybody's a carb addict, just most of us. Not everybody's a severe carb addict, just like not everybody that drinks alcohol is an alcoholic. I know a lot of people that never have more than maybe one drink a day and maybe not even every day, but they drink. But that drink that they have doesn't trigger any kind of an addictive response. It relaxes them, but they're different than an alcoholic that once they take a thimbleful of alcohol can't stop. So the important thing, if you want to succeed in this, is you have to recognize what is it that triggers me, and can I recognize when I've been triggered so I know what to stop doing rather than worry about every gram. A lot of people who do carnivore, it is healthy, and after a while it's a great way to live, but a lot of people that are doing it might be able to not do it. I don't suggest any of you that have finally gotten on it like me. I might be able to tolerate a sweet thing now and then, but I don't dare try because I have a lifetime of being thrown off the wagon because I tried. And it's easier for me just to say I can live without it. I don't need it. And I don't want it. Let me get a link up here. Let's see here. We have to invite, copy. I'm going to put a link in the chat here, and it is a link to StreamYard. And if you click on that link, we'll see if we can't get you in here. And in the meantime, on my old mixer here, I have to go 3 menus deep here to turn off a particular setting so that I won't have any echoes. But that also means, for example, I can't play audio from my computer now. Hey, I knew this guy was going to come in here. Here we have from Chile, direct from his Uber car. Everybody welcome. Now, this would be the place where I would push the button on that mixer and we would get a bunch of people cheering and a round of applause. So you're just going to have to imagine that. We have Juan Miguel. Hi.
Hello everybody.
How are you?
¿Cómo están todos? How are you today?
I'm doing great, Juan. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fine. I'm just on my way home. I finished my last drive and I'm heading home. And I was listening to you, even if I will not been typing in the chat, but listening as my radio here, like the voice of my conscience, if I had
uh,
one. Uh, you know what? I've been thinking about, especially after I saw a short video of Dr. Chafee, and he was talking about the how to manage uh, hypoglycemic in carnivore. And he say if you have low blood sugar, it's because you are and you have type 1 diabetes, it's because you are getting too much insulin. If you need sugar, you need to reduce the insulin and drink milk because the milk has sugar. And that start to spin the wheels on in my head. And I said, of course, because I already read the labels, of course I know, but that sugar is animal based, is from animals. And when
lactose.
I say to you that you are
Uh-oh, we're losing you, Juan.
carbs, of
Uh, Juan, you're dropping out. You're in a bad area over there.
lifestyle, that the bad things that can come from plants can come from animals, but not bad. Carbs from animals are not bad. Carbs from, uh, if you are not addicted, I mean. But if you are not addicted and you get carbs from animal, from beef, from eggs, from, I don't know, from butter, from milk, they are good because comes from a natural source that is ready to be digested by humans.
I agree. I agree, but it's not enough. For normal people, the few carbs you're going to get from eggs and meat generally come from glycogen, which is what we have in our muscle meat to provide the energy. So it's not in the same form as pure glucose, and it doesn't trigger the same reactions in us. Listen, let me bring somebody else in, if you don't mind, Juan. I got somebody in the green room, Steph, it says. Let's add Steph in here. How you doing? Can't hear you. You got your mic muted. Try now. No, there you go.
Buddy, no. Hi. I don't. This is the first time I've ever done this, so I have no idea what I'm doing.
Oh, you're doing it. We can see you and hear you, Steph. How you doing? And your dog. We hear your dog.
Yes. Unfortunately, if I yell at him, come here, get up here.
So, Juan, well, Steph corrals her dog.
Sorry.
There you go. That's okay. Well, good to see you. Good to meet you.
Yeah, I just recently found you guys, and this is my first live stream. Bubba, quit.
Bubba, you have a dog named Bubba?
Well, his name's Buddy.
Okay.
It's actually Budweiser, but I call him Buddy. But he's Bubba when he's getting in trouble. Get up here. Come here. Can you say hi? Come on. You say hi.
So where do you live?
I
It
don't
looks like
know
it's
where the
still.
camera is.
Where do you live?
My well, technically Sturgis, South Dakota, but right now I'm in Casa Grande, Arizona.
Okay, because it's still
I
light there. I see light coming in your window.
Yeah, it's 6:30 ish.
Yeah,
So
it's your Pacific time out there. Yeah, you're 3 hours.
right now, yeah,
Yeah,
Arizona is one of those wonderful places that doesn't change.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, I wish they do that with. Wish they do that with all of us.
I grew up out here, and I've moved and moved and moved, and I just enjoy being warm. So I started out as a snowbird, but I think I'm pretty much gonna be here most of the year.
No,
I'll
I
go
know.
home and
I
see
know.
the kids.
I know the feeling. I started out in Philadelphia and I'm in Florida. So, yeah. So, how long are you a carnivore? You doing carnivore?
I just started like this week.
Holy
So,
cow. Holy cow. And I say that
yeah.
because that's what you should be eating, just cow. are, are you?
Yes.
So, did
The,
you do? I'm
the
sorry, go
only
ahead.
thing right now I found I've got a little bit of a headache and not quite, I don't feel like I have as much energy, but back in the 70s when Atkins got big, I tried doing it and I was still a kid. I was with my grandparents, my grandmother and I did it. And my grandfather couldn't wait till we both got off of it. We were both so grumpy, but
Well, you're going to go through a couple of weeks because what you're doing to yourself by stopping the sugar is a major shift
Yeah,
in the way your body creates the energy that you need just to live.
that's right.
And what's that, Juan?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
I agree.
we've all experienced that. I mean, all of us
Yep.
have. Me, everybody else. And I didn't have it as bad when I went carnivore because I went from keto to carnivore. So I'd already been very low carb. But if I had gone from the standard American diet, and what happens is in each cell in our body, we're like a Prius, we're like a hybrid car. We have separate pathways, chemical pathways. One of them uses sugar for fuel. The other one uses fat for fuel. Unfortunately, most of us, our fat pathways haven't been used in so many years. They don't work very well. They're like a muscle that you don't use and you never exercise. So our cells, they have to almost, the fat burning pathways have to be reawakened. And we're so used to burning sugar that our brain constantly thinks we're starving ourselves because it's not getting the energy it needs from the fat. So it makes you want to eat more sugar, ramps up the cravings. It doesn't want you to starve to death. And so not only do you have a hard time with that, but you're going to feel like shit for a while, and you're just going to have a couple weeks of no energy, and you got to tough through it. And I keep telling people the easiest way to do it is just eat.
Yeah.
Eat bacon, eat eggs, eat meat, just eat. If you're hungry, if you start thinking about donuts, grab some bacon. If you make a burger, you know what I mean? Eat
that's
and stuff yourself. Eat 5,000, 10,000 calories if you can cram it in. As long as it's not sugar, you're going to help reawaken those fat burning pathways. And once they start working, you'll hear angels sing. It's like a whole new life, you know. That's the way you're supposed to work.
yeah. I have figured out I have to have some extra food made so I can just eat
You have
instead
to.
of having to cook it each time.
You have to, yeah, because the time it takes to cook it, we're not strong enough to overcome these cravings. None of us. We don't have willpower. Willpower is a man-made idea that doesn't exist. Your brain wants sugar. You're going to have sugar. Believe me. Uh, it's like trying to stop breathing. You can't do it. You know, nobody can stop breathing until they die. You can't. It's impossible. And it's also fairly impossible when your subconscious thinks you're starving to death for you to not cram yourself full of sugar. And just ask anybody who's had hypoglycemia, where their blood sugar dips too low, where they're getting close to risking dying, about the kind of cravings that they get at that point where they have to eat sugar. I mean, they'd kill for it because the sirens are going off. You're calling 911. I mean, it's even though you have
I
all
know
this energy.
it's probably different for everyone, but about how long does it take to get over the cravings? Is that like
that's
6 months
that's
a
a
year?
yeah. No, you could. If it depends on how you do it, and everybody's different. If the cravings will diminish 80-90% in most people within a month. They'll diminish enough to the point where, as long as you keep eating the meat, you'll be able to control them. If you say, well, I'm going to start fasting, that would be a mistake, because then the cravings will get you. That's why, in my first 30-day plan, the only thing there's only one rule, and that is eat until you can't move, but eat the right foods. And well, won't I gain weight? Who cares? It's not a matter. It's not the weight that has to change. It's your chemistry that has to change. And the only way to do that is to detox from the sugar. So if you gain, go ahead.
Honestly, yes, I need to lose weight, but that's not my prime motivation. I'm waking up and I feel like I'm 100. My joints are stiff, my knees hurt, my hips hurt. And I do walk every day to take the dog for a walk and stuff. But even in this week, I found that I'm not as, I call it stoved up, as stiff, I guess.
Okay.
Hi, Tom.
I'm just brought Tom in. Biking 442. How you doing, man?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good to see you. I hope.
Viking. Hi, gay. Hi.
Hey Juan, how you doing?
Yeah, these
Doing
are
fine.
regular. These guys have been with me a long time, and it's great to see you. It's great to see you come in here.
Yeah, I finally got my
Thank
camera working on Linux.
Oh, you're doing great.
Yeah,
No, I mean, you
yeah.
got good audio, good picture. All you guys are
Right.
technical wizards. Look at you.
Yeah, I'm a chief software engineer, so I've been doing this stuff for a little while.
Oh, maybe I need to get you out here to help me with that stupid. Can you hear my mixer story that I told at the beginning of this stream?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Can you imagine? I mean, this is a Rodecaster Pro 2. This is a great mixer and very complicated, and fabulously, the stuff you can do with this thing is fabulous.
I can only imagine. I don't know anything about mixers.
But it broke. I mean, and when a piece of electronic equipment is broken, it's hard to troubleshoot because there's so many other things attached to it.
Yeah.
Is it going in on the wrong audio channel into the computer?
Yeah, and there's so many IC chips in there. That's
God.
just
Anyway,
insane.
we'll get it working. We'll get it. Well, but good to see you. I'm glad you came in. What do you think about this? You think this is, I don't want to ignore anybody. I don't want to leave people waiting in the green room. I want to try to bring them in, and it might become a free for all, but, Chris Hope is here.
Yeah, I think
Chris Hope is my buddy. Hey, Chris, how you doing? I'm trying to, and on top of concentrating on you guys, I'm also trying to read the chat.
Yeah.
This is crazy. So anyway, let me get back to you, Steph. Where were we?
So the chat's going on also at the same time?
People are typing in the chat. Yeah, we've got 118 people on the stream right now watching it.
Oh, I guess I don't understand all this stuff.
Well, yeah, people have been chatting all night long. We were up to about 150. It's crazy. Who knows? We do it. We have a good time. And then we have a private community where people come in on Thursday night, and I'll have a live stream with much fewer people. And we do it like this. People come in and we talk. And that's how I know Juan, because he comes in most weeks. And I just get such a charge out of talking to my friend down there driving his Uber car in Chile in South America, and being on a stream with me at the same time. Yeah. So Juan, you see him, he's in his car, and Andrew was driving his up in Indianapolis, driving his delivery van for Amazon last Thursday night when he was on the stream. And we have people come in from Australia. We have people come in from all over the world. We had a fellow from Indonesia.
Indonesia, yeah.
Yeah, and we had Andrew last week from not Andrew, but Jonathan, who has a YouTube channel called Bags Packed Family. He's in over in Indonesia now. He's got 200,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel. He's been following me, and he came in and talked to us, and it's just great. It's a great community of people, and everybody will help you. And if you were on a computer and you can actually see the chat going by, you'll see that we have all these people that are helping each other, asking and answering questions, and I'm trying to ride herd over this whole mess. Oh, I see. Mark says that Mitch has a cool fashion sense. Yes, this I told you guys. I told you guys that because I was heavy, I always used to wear nothing but these tropical shirts, and I have a huge collection of them. A huge collection of them. These things are so big, I could camp out in them. They're like made by Omar the tent maker, and but they're beautiful shirts and some of the beautiful fabrics and colors. And I said, well, if all I'm showing is my shoulders and up, even though my shoulders on the shirt are way down here somewhere because it's so big, it's almost, these are short sleeves, they almost go over my elbows. But I used to be big, and these are the shirts that and I got rid of most of my old clothes, but I couldn't get rid of these. And I decided, well, I'll wear them on my live stream. So this is another, and I never wear them out in the world. I wear t-shirts and shorts every day. I can't remember the last time I actually went somewhere with long pants on, if you can imagine that. So where are you living, Tom?
I'm in Tampa.
Oh, that's right.
It's really near the fairgrounds, if you know that area.
Oh, yeah. God, I'm very familiar. I lived in St. Petersburg for a lot of years. I lived in Seminole. You know where Seminole is?
Yeah.
Between Clearwater and St. Pete.
Yeah.
I lived.
Yeah, my company is in Indian Rocks Beach.
Oh, well, that was right directly across the intercoastal from where I lived. I lived in Whispering Pines, and just a few hundred feet from the street where I lived was the intercoastal.
Okay.
And the Indian Rocks Bridge that goes over to Indian Rocks. Right. I used to ride my bicycle every morning when I lived over there. I was much younger then. That was back in the 70s. I used to get on my bike. I used to go down 86th and get to the bridge to Indian Rocks Beach. I'd drive over that bridge to Indian Rocks Beach, north on the beach to Ulmerton Road. Okay. Yeah. Back over Ulmerton Road and then back down to my home. It was a 25-mile ride. I did it every morning.
Sounds like a really long one.
I did it every morning, and I got to the point. I was trying to be in shape, and that was the last time I weighed 138 pounds, was back when I was doing that every morning.
Well, congrats on getting back to that.
and I could do it in an hour, which was some serious bike riding.
Oh yeah.
And now, since then, all these years later, 50 years later, or 40 something, 50 years later, I'm at 138 pounds again. Without all that work. I mean, I exercise, but nothing like I used to do on that bicycle. I still have the bicycle.
Yeah. Mitch, I want to tell something to Steph right here.
Sure.
She said that she didn't start the carnivore just because to lose weight, but for her health, right? But I started to manage my blood glucose, but as a side effect, you lose weight.
Yes.
You take care on carnivore. You take care of your health. You get back your health, but at the same time you lose weight, and that improves your health. That's what I want to say.
Yes, and that's one of the biggest mistake people make when they do carnivore. They bring the D word into it, diet. And diet to everybody means lose weight. What diet really means is what you eat. You know, what's the proper diet for a koala bear? What's the proper diet for a dog? You know, that's what a diet should mean. What is the proper human diet? It's not how much you weigh. Weight has nothing to do with it. It's what food you put into your body. What is the appropriate food? That's what diet. But we've turned the word diet into an activity to lose weight. So when somebody says, I'm going on a diet, there should be no such thing as a diet. A diet. It's not a thing. The way you would say it is, my diet is, I eat meat, I eat this. You know, what foods do I? That's what my diet is. I'm not on a diet. My diet is these foods. And, you know, we've got such a focus because we've all put on so much weight that that's just become accepted and part of our culture that, you know, you get fat, you go on a diet. And that also brings with it the connotation that it's just a temporary thing that we're going to do for a while until we fix the problem. And then we don't have to do it anymore. Well,
Right.
that we all know that doesn't work. We all know that. How many times have I yo-yoed? You know, it just doesn't work. So when you go on carnivore, you basically have to convince yourself or try to change something that you've understood your whole life about what a diet really means and say, I'm not on a diet. I am changing my diet. I'm changing my diet. My diet used to be ice cream and sugar and pizza and all that other crap. Now my diet is going to be meat and a lot of fat. And so I'm changing my diet. And that's all you need to think about. You could throw away the scale. I keep yelling at people, throw away the scale, because if you're so worried about your weight, you're still living that old I'm on a diet mindset. How are you going to get that out of your head if you weigh yourself every morning and get upset when you don't see a weight loss? You can't help. You cannot help but normalize your weight if you eat a healthy diet. That's going to happen. My goal when I was weighing 180, 190 pounds, sometimes 200, maybe a little more, my goal was always 150 to 160. That's where I spent most of my life, 160, 165 pounds, 170 pounds. If anybody said, Mitch, you know, maybe you're a thin, fairly light boned guy. You got thin wrists, you got, skinny legs. Maybe you shouldn't weigh 165 pounds. Maybe you should weigh 140 pounds. I would have said, you're out of your mind. But I did weigh 100. I did weigh that much at one point. And I was, I was in shape. I was muscular. I was, but I would have said, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. And I went on keto and I still ate enough carbs and fell off the wagon often enough to have, to not lose a lot of weight. I focused on weight. It was always about weight. I got a beam scale in my closet and a digital scale out. You're always thinking about weight. I don't think I learned finally that sabotages our diets. It doesn't help us, just like trying to set a weight goal. The only goal we really need to have on carnivore is to just eat the right foods and only the right foods and come up with how much we should eat, how much fat we should eat, and how often we should eat, and get used to that. And it takes a while to get used to that. It takes a month, maybe 2. But if you eat enough in the beginning, you can control the cravings. Maybe. And you might fall off the wagon once or twice, but you can't give up. And your body's going to reward you with all of this tremendous feelings of comfort when you cram sugar in your face, because it knows how to get you to eat that stuff, because it thinks it needs that to live. It forgot how to burn fat, basically. You are living on survival food. We're programmed to live on survival food. And when we're living on survival food, which is sugar or plants, which is something that we where we had the imperative to hunt for and scrounge for when the meat wasn't there to live, to survive. We're all basically now convinced that we're in some permanent famine and we have to cram as much of this survival food into us as possible or we're going to die. That's what's going on in our brains. It doesn't know that there's a 7-Eleven on every corner. Our animal minds don't know that Sam's Club sells pallet loads of Cheez-Its every day. It doesn't know that. It just knows that the real food isn't there. So the pre-programmed imperative from 50,000 years ago, when our ancestors were living in caves, to go out and scrounge up anything that you can eat that has sugar, which can be burned immediately for energy, is what's going to keep you alive. That survival instinct is still in all of us, and it compels us in the form of cravings and a reward with dopamine and other neurotransmitter release when we do put the sugar in us. And we have to let our body learn that we're not in a famine, that there is meat out there. And it takes a while for that to happen. And the beautiful thing is it doesn't take that long. It can happen. And Ken Berry just did an explanation of this. Basically, somebody asked him a question, how long does it take to get fat adapted? And he said, 2-3 weeks. And after 2-3 weeks, it should get easier. Unless you're in a situation where everybody around you is stuffing their face full of crap that you're addicted to all day long. You're not really serious about it. Oh, well, I'll just, okay, maybe I'll just have a couple of those little cookies, you know what I mean? And you think, well, it couldn't hurt me, a couple little bit, and everybody's telling you that, including your grandmother who keeps baking this crap for you. You know what I'm saying? And it's a mindset more than anything else. It's something that you have to learn as much as you can about it. And that's why, even though people don't want to hear lectures on biochemistry, it's really helpful to understand what's going on inside every cell of your body, the chemical reactions, the electron transport, the Krebs cycle, all of these, citric acid cycle, which is another name for the Krebs cycle, these different reactions that are happening, mechanical reactions and chemical reactions in our body that are what life is, and what it takes, and how the different fuel pathways work, and why it is that you get the cravings. I try to explain that to people. That's what helped me the most when I finally, after a lifetime of trying to figure out, well, why is it that I can't fight these cravings? Why is it that I blame myself for being weak and not being able to, to always be able to rationalize why it's okay. Maybe this one last time I'll just, eat this gallon of ice cream and start my diet. And that was my first video that I made on carnivore back last October. The title of my video was, I'll start my diet again on Monday. Because we con ourselves. We don't have will. I mean, I'll argue that with this. We are programmed, and Tom, you're in the computer business. You know how programming works. You program a computer to do something, it does it. Mm-hmm. It does
it does exactly what you tell it. Even
right, instruction by instruction, and even the artificial intelligence now is learning. It's programming itself based on its experiences. Well, that's what life is. That's what intelligence is. Modify the programming a little bit, throw it in the world, see what happens. Trial and error, survival of the fittest. If it works, you keep it. If it doesn't work, you discard it and go pay attention to what did work. That's true in everything in life. That's true in everything from human life to advertising, That's why they focus test things. That's why they have demographics. That's why they have statistics. Well, that's why YouTubers worry about which thumbnail they use. If it works, do it again. If it doesn't work, don't do it again. That's life. That's what it's all about. And that's all life is. That's all. And what we are today is the sum total of everything that worked over the 550 million years since the first life happened on this planet. And we are a sum total of that five. Just like, Tom, I can give you computer analogies all day long, but I'll tell you, if you dig deep enough down into the Windows, the latest version of Windows, you'll find the same exact subroutines that existed in the first version of DOS.
Oh, yeah.
For the most basic functions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of moving memory around, of writing and reading something from a hard drive, of scanning a keyboard to accept a keystroke. The same exact code is still being used with millions of more complicated code using those functions in it, but the functions are still there. And those functions of life are like that. And in our genetics and in our DNA, we still have the programming that the first single cell life that happened used to create energy, metabolize food, utilize oxygen, and all the other things. We're still running on that programming, but it has been elaborated on and improved upon over millions of years by what works and what didn't. Now, if you can understand what it is that makes it work, you're a genius. You have heads up on figuring out why it is that we behave the stupid way that we do. Excuse Juan while he beats his eggs.
Yeah, he's cooking.
That's exactly what I was
me
thinking.
while I beat my eggs.
You forgot to ask for yeah, I wish I could say excuse me while I light my cigar, but I don't smoke in the house, guy.
I've never tried cooking in the bathroom. Is that where you are?
No, I think he's in his kitchen. I've got music, Mitch. Yeah, see, if I had my mixer here, my new mixer, I'd be able to play music, but I can't play music now. And if you know anything about how computers handle audio channeling, the problem I have, Tom, is that if I were to play something from the computer, it would be sent out to the stream where you are. It would come out of whatever your headphones. It would also come back to me again, and you'd hear echoes like crazy.
Yeah, feedback loop gets more intense.
I have to have a mixer capable of doing what they call mix minus, and in the channel, and then I have to run a browser that I'm using for this StreamYard in a separate browser, and generally a different browser. I'm using Firefox for the StreamYard and Google browser for everything else. And then I have to channel the output and input of the Firefox to a separate audio channel over USB in my mixer. And then I have to mix out of what's going back to StreamYard, the sound of what's coming from StreamYard, or you get the echo. Yeah, and the mixer I have right now only has one setting, and that is turn the loop back on or off. And if I turn the loop back off, we can have a great conversation because nothing is going back to the computer from what it's, but I can't play anything on my computer. I can't play music. I can't play a YouTube video. I can't do anything that isn't coming in through this tiny little mixer. And that's what I want to do. I want to,
Viking, you are using Linux?
Yes, Linux Mint.
Which distribution?
It's Linux Mint. Are you familiar with Mint?
I'm using Ubuntu in my PC.
Yeah, Mint is based on Ubuntu.
Oh man, you guys, you bring back when I was in the computer business. I used to. I was a Unix guy.
Unix. I used Unix many years ago.
Yeah, and Xenix, which was Radio Shack. Yeah, Radio Shack. And when I used to write software, and I used to do all that stuff in Xenix. I had a model. When I did it, I was using a Model 2.
Yeah.
Radio Shack with 4 8-inch floppy drives, and
Okay.
that was it, man. I was king of the hill.
Oh
4
yeah.
8-inch floppy drives,
Yeah,
and
that was the machine back then.
and I wrote accounting systems back then in Ryan McFarland Basic is the
Wow.
language that they had. I wrote my own ISAM stuff to index hard drive files in Ryan McFarland Basic. Okay.
Yeah.
Then Radio Shack, at that time, they were selling computers, and they had no software for them. They had Lotus 123,
hmm
and what was the name of the word processor? They had a word processor. That was
Word
it.
Star.
Word
Script,
Star.
microscript, and they had VisiCalc and
VisiCalc, yeah,
Yeah.
and but they had no accounting software yet. And the Radio Shack computer centers here in Florida, I was living in Seminole, and I was starting to get calls from that's how I ended up in Orlando. I was starting to get calls from Orlando, the computer center. Hey, we heard you can write software for these things. We've got a church that needs a computerized system to manage their membership and donations and accounting and all that. So I drove over to Orlando and I made a deal, and I actually wrote the damn thing, and it ran on a Radio Shack Model 2 with 4 floppy drives, big 8-inch floppy drives, and it worked great. So then another church bought it from. Next thing I know, I'm in the software business, writing software. And then I got a partner, and this guy was a real whiz. He was such a incredible programmer. He today would have been considered like a king hacker. I mean, he was brilliant. He wrote compilers, that kind of stuff. I mean, he wrote computer languages that he used to program his stuff. And so we got together. We had a little software company, and then Radio Shack came out with their first 10 megabyte hard drive.
Yeah, I had one.
$5,000.
Yeah.
10 megabytes. Not even the size.
My first computer was a Commodore.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about. 10 megabytes for $5,000, which isn't even the amount of space that half of a cell phone picture takes these days. You know, but 10 megabytes, $5,000, and I bought one. And I got one of these fancy aluminum suitcases that with the foam inserts so I could carry it around with me. I can't believe I spent $5,000. That $5,000 from back then would be 50 grand or 100 grand today in today's money. It was a fabulous amount of money for that, but we did that. And then of course the software companies started coming along and they overtook us like crazy. All of a sudden they started having, counting systems and stuff. So that business never had a real future to it. Because I wasn't a Silicon Valley type. I was just some guy trying to get by back then. And so I naturally went into the next natural business you go into from the computer software business. I started building PC clones. And that I built up into a huge company here in Orlando. We had 13 counties, school districts. We did all the work for them. That's a long story. I've told that story so many times. I don't want to get into it now, but understanding computers, understanding programming and software and how processors work and memory registers and how all that stuff works is the key to understanding how life works, because it is just an organic version of the same methodology.
Excuse me, Mitch. I just hit leave. I'm going to say goodnight. I got to go take the dog for his walk.
That's okay, because I got to say goodnight too. So Steph, it was great. It was great meeting you, and I wish you the best of luck and stay in touch. And
I will. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks for your motivation. I appreciate it.
I hope it works. Take care.
Thank you. I'm sure it will.
All righty. We'll see you later. Bye-bye. Okay. I'm going to say goodnight to everybody because it's 10 o'clock and time flies when you're having fun.
No.
Tom, it's been a pleasure, man. Have we ever met before? Or is this the first time?
Yeah, this is my first time on the live.
Great. I've always been wondering what your first name was.
Tom.
So now I know. Tom. And you're
Yep.
in Tampa. That's great.
Yep.
My daughter lives up in Trinity. You know where that is,
Mhm.
Pasco County.
Right.
And I get over there every once in a while. And when I was in the drone, I had my drone YouTube channel. One day I went over and what's the name of that tower they have over there right in center of Tampa? What the hell is it?
Mm.
God, I can't remember. Oh, we went over there with a bunch of drone guys and we flew all around that.
One of the skyscrapers, or
No. It's north of there.
okay.
It's up north of town.
Okay,
on like,
guys, I'm leaving.
okay,
Good night.
Juan. Good to see you, man. I'll see you
Night,
Thursday
Juan.
night. Okay.
See you.
Take care, buddy. Oh, I lost Tom. No, there you go. Hit the wrong one. You shuffled around. There you go. Okay, didn't mean to do that. I was clicking the other, and he took himself out, and the windows moved around, and I hit the mouse on your window.
That's okay.
Oh God, what the hell's the name of that? I should know. Anyway, if you look way back on my channel, 5-6 years ago, one of my earlier videos was over there. What the hell is the name of that? You'll know it too. I mean, it's I forgot. Anyway, it's way long time ago. Way long time ago.
I'll see if I can
2018.
find it.
I mean, I could look for it, but I'll give us some homework to do. It's God. I used to know the names of the streets over there, but it's right near not the river, but if you
Is it the old water tower near the
no
interstate? No.
no, it's not a water tower. It was something else. I'll figure it out. We'll talk about it next time. Anyway, this time it's getting late.
Yes.
I'm surprised my voice held up as well as it did, but time to shut it down for tonight. So I'll say goodnight to you, and then I'll say goodnight to everybody else. Good to meet you, man.
Night, guys.
We'll see you again, okay?
Okay.
Don't be a stranger.
Right.
All right, that leaves me. And if I want to play some exit music, I got to go back into my mixer. And I'm going to do it because I can't imagine leaving this thing without. Let's see here. I got to do this. Oh, come on, Mitch. That. And I got to go to here and I got to turn that back on. And now I can play some music. So let's do that. There it comes, and I'm hoping you can hear it. I can hear it in my headphones. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I had a good time tonight, as usual. And I'm glad. My thanks to Steph and Tom and Juan for coming in to talk to me. I enjoyed that. Sure does make the time fly. All you in the chat, thank you so much. Appreciate you staying interested. I still see you. So many of you are still here. Either you guys really like me or like me, you basically have no life. Either way, always good to see you. So with that, I'm going to close this out like I usually do. See you next time. Take the rest of the day off and eat meat.